Well, the strawberries have arrived, so let's see what I like. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So this will be 12 of each. It says March delivery. Only just made it. Right, so I've got flamenco, which will go supposedly until October, but I think in north of England it'll probably be sometime in September. And this is Royal Sovereign, which is an early one. So, right, I better get these into some water. Right, I've got the strawberries I received yesterday afternoon, so I kept them in the original bags. They're in a little bit of compost, so what I'm going to do is just rehydrate them by putting them in some water. So this is Royal Sovereign, this should be flamenco, this. So I'm just going to put them in the water for a bit, just to let the roots soak up a bit of water. I'm not going to untie them or anything. And then I'll plant them in pots later today. I think the worst of the freezes is over, so I think these will be okay to go outside. What I might do is, just to be on the safe side, keep some of them in the greenhouse and put the rest outside. Right, so they've gone out. It's the end of March, so I don't think we'll have a really nasty freeze, but just in case, I've left half of them in the greenhouse for a few more weeks. This is the Comfrey that Tony dug up and I put in a pot to overwinter, and it's been sitting outside in this pot quite happily. So that can be transplanted outside over here in front of the greenhouse. Some weeds and grasses have come back through the mulch, but I knew they would because I didn't really clear them. I just dug up the bramble roots. So yeah, they've come up through, but what it'll allow me to do is to more or less get this area covered in Comfrey. Once Comfrey gets going, it'll just take over from all the other weeds and just cover the whole ground. There's things like dock and dandelions and things, I can always pull them up and chuck them in the weed barrel and they'll just regrow, so that's not a problem. So this is going to be a good crop area for my free liquid fertilizers. But I've put that other window next to the door, so once it's all put together it'll be fine. It's just right. So that'll do. And put some of the leeks out here. Obviously there is no glass in this door, so I've just put this metal, I don't know, it was a lampshade or whatever. It's just the right thing just to cover it and stop pigeons getting at it. A few little bits like that they might get at, but hopefully they'll not bother it too much. These potatoes have just gone mental. They were in the greenhouse, but they've just grown. They're like a good 50 centimetres tall now, so I'm going to put them in pots today. The other half of the leeks and the other half of the figs are still here in the greenhouse, just in case something happens to the ones outside. Brought in the broad beans. Hopefully the mice won't bother them in here. I'm not worried about slugs for this one, but just worried that the mice might get in and have a dig, but we'll see. Hopefully they're big enough and well developed enough that they won't bother, but we'll see. Okay, I've got my strawberries here. They just had a little soak. I've got some black pots, I've got some brown pots. The Royal Sovereign will go in the black ones and the flamenco will go in the brown ones. So basically, just put a bit of compost. This bottom compost is clean compost out of a bag, and this other stuff is recycled stuff. So putting a bit of good clean compost at the bottom and then using that to go around it. So you don't want it to be in there for too long, but I didn't want to separate the roots out whilst it was dry. So let's have a look at these. 1, 2, 11, 12. Right. Okay. Start with that one. And basically, we just want it to be just the level of the crown. We don't want to bury the crown and we don't want it sticking out too far, so just have to be a bit careful. And the reason I'm putting them in pots rather than straight into the ground is we could still have some nasty weather, so I want to give them a few days to settle in the greenhouse, and then once they've got a bit established, then I can put them out into either the ground or something bigger. But for now that will do, and I will water these when I've done them all. And just so I don't forget, if I can find a label, there it is. I will put the label into that one. And of course I'll know which ones are which, because all the black ones will be the same as that one. And here are the strawberries. These are the Royal Sovereigns, all planted up and watered. And these are the Flamenco, all planted and watered. So that job's done. And when we get to the beginning of May, they should be nice and settled. Mid-April, beginning of May. I'll see how desperate I am for the greenhouse space, but once they've settled they'll be fine. I think by about mid-April we won't get any really bad frosts. We'll get frosts, but nothing that will kill strawberries, so they can go out in about 2-3 weeks, and then potted up and transplanted a couple of weeks after that. Right, I'm digging out these strips of carpet that go along there. You see, they just come off, and these overlap other pieces. They go that way and then into that cold frame. So yeah, it's a bit of a horrible job because you can't sort of grab a piece and drag it, big piece and grab it, it just keeps falling to bits. But I'll manage. It's got all these weed roots going through it. Now I've got a lot of copper to get rid of, and there's a lot of bumps here, like all these half buried stones that once used to be the edge of a bed, and bits of metal and things like this edging. So what I'm going to do is, for the moment, throw all the carpet into there. There's already carpet there anyway in these paths, because this is all carpet that's already there under the path. There's all this stuff, and I really don't want to have to deal with this, all of this this year. So what I'm going to do is put the carpet here just to fill the lumps, and then I'm going to put some of that black plastic sheet that I got second hand. If I just put the plastic down, it's just going to tear on the edge of these things, so it'll just, you know, every time you step around it. So the carpet will soften the edges, it'll just be a big lump, and then I can put the plastic on top of it and I can forget about it till next year, because I don't need this space this year. So if I can just do something and forget about it, I'm happy with that. And then next year, when we get the skips in, I can just pick up all the carpet and throw it in the skip. Job done. And then I can dig out these edgings and things. But that's the job for next winter. I mean, it's 21 degrees today. I really don't want to be dealing with lots of weeds and things. It's quite a weeds going through that, and sometimes they actually matted and connected these two pieces of carpet together, because I've gone through both pieces. But if all the carpet is in one place, at least I've got peace of mind that I know where it all is. I've cleared the carpet from the rest of the plot, and if it's all in one place, I don't know, it's easy to get at, because once the plastic goes on top of it, there's not going to be any problems with weeds growing through it, because obviously they're not going to see any sunlight or get any rain. Now normally I wouldn't recommend using plastic, but in this case I think it's the best option. It was free, and it was either I use it or it goes to the tip, so I'm using it, getting one more use out of it. And then once it's done, we'll see what state it's in and what other use we can use for crumbs. Look at the size of that bindweed root. It's a good metre and a bit long. These bits start here, which was under the edge of that. There you go. Oh. Now the good news is, once I pull the carpet out, I'll pull out most of the roots. But the bad news is I've got all the bindweed roots still there. Ruddy stuff hasn't gone away. It's been out hiding out of sight, just waiting. Ah dear. Decided that I'm going to use this bed, or try and clear it, and possibly use this bed this year. So what's in this coal frame has got to be moved out. Now that gooseberry will go. I've got to move this over there under the apple tree. I put another bag there, so all I've got to do is move stuff from here onto the wheelbarrow and put it over there. It was handy whilst I was clearing this area, but really I need it out of the way, and over there is not being used for anything, so that's the best place for it. So that's a nice little exercise to start the morning. Fortunately it's all great big sods of grass and things that just come apart in big pieces, so it's not going to take long. Once I've taken the big pieces out and it's a bit lighter, I can just lift the whole thing and move it. This rhubarb is coming along great. I was trying to clear this area, and I found this huge, and I mean it is massive, piece of asbestos, just buried, and it was flat, lying flat, dead flat, next to my foot. You can see it's a good 10 centimetres longer than my foot. And I thought, oh, alright, I've dug that out, put my fork in the ground, and clunk, there's more stuck underneath. It's not copper, it's bloody asbestos. Oh god. Look at the size of that. It's almost up to my elbow, so that's a good 1.5 metres. And I heard a clunk, so I think there is more. Yeah, there is more. Right. That's it. And all this stuff was growing on top. You can see from the roots, all flat because they couldn't go through the asbestos, but bloody hell. Right, I think this little carpet there, I'm going to leave that.